welcome back to my latest vlog. I just thought I'd put a very brief intro on it because it's a slightly different type of video to normal. It's all done with the voiceover. This is my evening routine vlog, which has been one of my most highly requested, either that or a morning routine. And as the horses are currently on summer turnout, which means they are living out overnight and in the day, I decided that this would be the more interesting way to do it. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say. This is kind of a standard evening in lockdown. I'm kind of doing my day in two halves at the moment. In the morning I'm getting up, bringing them in, feeding them, riding one, and then I have the middle of the day where I'm either going on a walk or doing some baking or something non-horsey, maybe editing a vlog. And then the evening I come out and I ride the other and I get on with all the jobs that need doing. So I've included everything I do in the afternoon and evening in this vlog. So enjoy! As I'm sure most of you will know, I'm super lucky to have a couple of stables at home where currently Atty and Towie are staying, so I can just hop outside, slide on my wellies and get going. These are my favourite £3 Primark wellies that I've told you guys about in a previous vlog, so I was super gutted to see they'd actually split on this particular day. So my first job when I get out every day is actually to go around the side of the house to the tap. That's because the field that the horses are currently grazing in doesn't have an automated water trough, so I turn on the tap and then I tend to head down to the trough itself just to check that there's nothing fallen in it, no debris, and that the water's still fresh. I thought I'd leave in this clip of me jogging mainly for amusement and so my mum can make a joke about it being the first time I've jogged in 10 years. So here you can see me heading down onto the yard itself, but the first task at hand is to ride Atty. I'm usually greeted by his face pretty much as soon as I open that gate, and that is because as soon as he's had breakfast in the morning, he's already thinking about dinner, so by this point he definitely thinks it's dinner time. I then tend to wander over and see Towie, who's often had a sleep. Here she's got shavings all on her tail, she's obviously been having a roll, and then of course I go and greet Atty. Now it's time to give Atty a groom and get him all smart and ready to ride. As you can see, he's a bit of a fidget. On this particular day, he was already looking fairly clean, so he's actually had a bit of a photo shoot for the company Wild Jewellery, who very kindly sent me out some accessories. If my technological skills allow, I'll be sure to insert some photos here. And then I go to put on his saddle, and actually as I'm putting it on, I get distracted because I hear a very exciting van pull into the driveway. It's a delivery from my sponsors over at Better Life, and I will go through what supplements my horses use during this video when we get to dinner time. Now to finish tacking Atty up, and I'm not sure if it was the heat this day because it was incredibly hot, but he did not look like he was in the mood to be doing pole work. This walk off the yard is so unlike him. He usually strides away so excited, so it did make me laugh, but as soon as he saw the poles he definitely perked up a bit. So the exercise that you will see me doing today with the poles was actually inspired by EQUESTRIAN.co.uk on Instagram. I definitely recommend that you go and check her out for loads of pole work ideas. What I really liked about this activity is it was quite simple. It only took 8 poles, but there's so many different things you could do with it, from weaving in and out of the poles, to using them as trotting poles, to using the corners of the square as canter poles. So I thought it was a really good exercise, and I'd actually done it earlier that day on Towie just to test it out, and both horses seemed to really benefit from it. For me, on this particular day in the heat, the purpose of this exercise was to introduce the horses back into poles. Because of lockdown I hadn't been jumping, so they hadn't really seen any poles in quite a long time. I'd actually got a little bit lazy with my pole work, so that was kind of why I was doing it. So I wasn't bothered about them having big flashy paces or going on an outline. It was more of a desensitizing task. Atty is pretty bomb-proof, he was not phased. I'm really impressed with his work. Towie was a little bit more excited, but it was good to get it out of the system before we actually went jumping. I was so pleased after the session with Atty, but I was definitely regretting wearing a long sleeve base layer. I was boiling, so I decided to give Atty a full body hose down. That's what he would have liked. He's so funny, he always likes to drink from the hose as soon as I turn it on. This particular day he actually went one step further and swallowed the whole thing up in his mouth. I was literally laughing, it was so funny. But after he'd had a little mess about, it was time to give him a proper bath and a cool down. He may like having a full body wash, but don't think for 1 second he likes having his ears washed. He definitely stretches and makes it as hard as humanly possible. Now it's time to get the horses ready to go in the field overnight. In cold weather that means rugs, but in hot weather it means fly spray. I'd really been struggling to find an effective fly spray that would last the full night until Lincoln Horse Care very kindly sent me some of their new fly stopper. I've been using it for about 2 weeks now and I'm honestly so impressed. It lasts all the way to the morning, and so I use it on both ponies every single evening. It's time for the horses' favourite part of the day. It's dinner time. I'm going to show you what they each get, with the bowl on the left being Atty's and the bowl on the right being Towie's. As you can see, I did not think through the camera angle before I started filming this section. This is Towie's feed. She hardly gets anything. That's because she's a classic Connemara pony and her waistline would explode. This is Better Life Farmer Quinn. I put a scoop in each of their feeds just so I know that their joints are being looked after to the highest possible standards. And then because they both work really hard on this day, I also decided to put in some electrolytes just so I know that any salts they sweated out are being replaced. I feed Atty first as he has way more food to get through, so it always takes longer. As soon as he has his food, Towie usually pokes her head out of the stable door trying to work out where hers is. Now they're both eating, I have 10 minutes of peace and quiet. Depending on how productive I'm feeling, I'll try and get some jobs done, maybe some poo picking or getting ahead on sweeping, but today I'm going to put away the poles from our session earlier. Once Atty's finished his feed, he likes to make it very clear that he's ready to be out in the field, but first of all I always like to give the feed buckets a little rinse out. I just think it's good practice, and Atty can be quite messy and trample on his even if he only has it in a stable for 10 minutes, but then after that's done it's finally time to get ready to go out in the field, which means putting fly masks and head collars on. They're actually really super good. They lead together, which means I can put them out in one go. I think it's so funny how they both have their own habits as soon as they get in the field. Towie always goes for the water trough, you can see her walking off screen to head there now, whereas Atty will always have a roll first. I was really happy that I caught it on camera, there you can see him going down. Now the horses are out, it's time for my jobs to begin. First up is filling up water buckets, although I won't put them back in the stables until after I've skipped out, so that they don't get dusty. Then it's on to the stables themselves, with Towie always coming first because she's the cleanest and I can just about tolerate doing hers. If they have any hay left over from the day, I'll sweep it into a pile at the front of the stable, but I don't tend to put down any fresh hay until the next morning. Once the bed's clean, I'll sweep it back and put the water bucket in the stable. Then it's time to empty the wheelbarrow before getting on with sweeping. I actually don't mind sweeping at all because it tends to be the last big job before I can go inside and get my dinner, and that itself motivates me through. The final job of the day is just making sure that the yard looks generally clean and tidy and in a state that I'm happy to come out to in the morning. This mostly includes putting away all of the random utensils I've got out over the course of the day and haven't put away, and then also closing up the utensil shed and the hay shed. Finally, it's time to check everything's in the tack room before locking that up as well. And that is sort of it. That's what my evening routine has looked like while I'm in lockdown. It's a little bit more chilled than my normal evening routine, which can include going to work as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe leave a comment too.